ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Narasimha Prasad. So we will chant from number 55. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. You are still unmuted, I think.
Shri Bhagavanuvach
Prajahati yada kaman
Rajahati yada kaman
sarvan parthamanogataan
Sarvan parthan manogatan
sarvan parthamanogataan
Sarvan partha manogatan
atmanyevatmana tushtaha
Atmanye atmana tushtaha
atmanyevatmana tushtaha
Atmanye atmana tushtaha
atmanyevatmana tushtaha.
Atmanye vatmana tushtaha.
So it is Atmana, but then there is Atmani in front of that. So Atmani plus Atmana becomes Atmani Eva. There is also an Evakara. So Atman Eva Atmana Tushtaha. Sthita Prajnastadochyate.
Mahodaya, shloka number
55. Hmm. 55.
Huh.
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः
दुःखेष्वनु दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नः
द्विग्नमनाः अनुद्
दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः
सुखेषु
सुखेषु
विगतस्पृहः
विगतस्पृहः
वीतरागभयक्रोधः
वीतरागभयक्रोधः
स्थितधीः स्थितधीः
स्थितधीः
मुनिरुच्यते
मुनिरुच्यते
यः सर्वत्र
यः सर्वत्र
अनभिस्नेहः
अनभिस्नेहः
तत्तत्प्राप्य Is
Mahoday,
everybody able to hear me?
voice is breaking.
Is my voice breaking?
No, Jaykumarji, for me it's fine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it could be Narasimha's internet also. Yes, sarvatra
यः सर्वत्र
anabhisnehaः
अनभिस्नेहः
तत्तत्प्राप्य
तत्तत्प्राप्य
शुभाशुभम्
शुभाशुभम्
नाभिनन्दति
नाभिनन्दति
न द्वेष्टि
न द्वेष्टि
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
यदा संहरते
महोदय
यदा संहरते
यदा संहरते चायम्
कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव
कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव
सर्वशः
सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणि
इन्द्रियाणि
इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
तस्य प्रज्ञा
तस्य प्रज्ञा
प्रतिष्ठिता
प्रतिष्ठिता
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते
निराहारस्य
निराहारस्य
देहिनः
देहिनः
रसवर्जं
रसवर्जम्
रसोऽप्यस्य
रसोऽप्यस्य
परं दृष्ट्वा
परं दृष्ट्वा
निवर्तते
निवर्तते
yeah so Bengaluru, they have opened up all the streets and roads in the entire city, but the internet channels are still opening up slowly. So I'm sure it'll get better. So we were looking at this shloka, number 59. Vishaya Vinivartante. So if you notice last few shlokas, response to Arjuna's question about, tell me a little more about this Sthita Prajna. What can describe this person who has this knowledge and without any doubt, that kind of person is being described. So one for whom fulfillment of a desire is not a must. That was said in 55. And 56, one who is not elated when pleasant things happen, one who is not depressed when things are unpleasant, even traumatic. Traumatic events can happen in anybody's life. The person may even weep, person may even cry due to the loss of something, but that is because of a knee-jerk reaction. Is always an emotional response. Nobody can stop that emotional response. But the person comes back. Person recognizes. The knowledge takes over. And so, such a person, Sitadihi Muniruchyate, 56. 57. One who is happy with whatever comes his or her way. And whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, Shubha Shubham, Tasya Prajna Pratisthita. And then 58, interesting shloka, where he says, I'm audible, no? My voice breaking? It's all right, okay. So if it is all right in America, that means it has gone that far, 10,000 miles it has gone. So here locally, should be all right. That's the assumption. So here the example of a turtle is given and how the turtle at will withdraws its limbs and its neck, etc. inside. So such an example is given. And in that manner, if a person is able to has mastery over that person's sense organs, then such a person is a Sthita Prajna. And then we were at this shloka number 59. So here also, same theme is going on. The theme of the mastery over sense organs. And he says here, Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinaha Rasavarjam. It's talking about a Nirahara. Okay. So last time we talked about a few things. We talked about subjective value and objective value of things. So we have value for things, all things. And we have an intellectual value, objective value of things. So what a thing can do for me. Food is needed. I need food in order to survive. That's an intellectual value, objective value. And then money, we talked about money last time. It has an objective value. And then there is the subjective or emotional value to things. So I am attached to so many things. I can't explain why, but I am attached. I just love it. And I want to possess more and more of it. I want to have more and more of it. I don't know why, but it just happens. This is an emotional value. So these two things are there. And so this person here is described as a Nirahara. So Ahara, I think all of you know what Ahara is. So in our languages, we have Ahara. Ahara means food. Any food, anything that is consumed is called Ahara. Ahriyate iti Aharaha. Generally, we use that word for food because it's consumed. Physically, you can see something going inside, and so it's called Ahara. But our Shastra uses the word in general. So all the sense organs are operating and bringing all data points into me. So all those objects are also called ahara. I look and I consume. I look, I consume. I hear, I consume. So things are meant for me and the sense organs are there. And so this nirahara means the one who is capable of mastering, capable of saying, I don't need anything. I don't need any object out there. I'm not dependent on anything. That kind of a person is called nirahara here. And then there is another word, dehinaha. So we saw that before also, dehi. But here the word dehi simply means person, of a person. Dehi, person, purushasya. Vishayaha vinivartante. Vishayaha vinivartante. This word vishaya is an interesting word. We have that word again, vishay. Vishay kya hai? Enna vishayam, we say, emi vishayamu. So what is the news? Okay, this is what comes to your mind when you say vishaya. What is the news? What's up? You know, WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, what's up? So that's vishaya. What's the news? Tell me. But here vishaya is not topic, not news. It means all these sense objects that are there. Every object in this world is a vishaya, according to the Shastra. So if you know a little Sanskrit, then for Sanskrit students, this vishaya comes from the root called si, S-I-C. And the meaning of the word si is of the nature of binding. Look at the definition, of the nature of binding. That which binds, has the potential to bind you is a vishaya. Okay? Look at the definition. Look at how much philosophy is there behind every Sanskrit word and therefore every Indian word. And so you think it's an object, you think it's news, but it binds you. News can bind you. You hear the news and you say, oh my God. And it's shocking. Any type of news, whether it is news from your near and dear or news from a newspaper, everything can be there. So binding, that of the binding nature is vishaya. So Shankaracharya here says, vishaya can mean sense objects, means any object in this world, or it can mean your sense organs also. Like that he says. He says we can interpret it either way. So, so vishayaha, those objects or sense organs, vinivartante. Vinivartante. They return. It seems they return. You know, they go out for a job to pick up stuff and then they return back. You know, people who leave, you leave home and then you come back. So like that, the sense organs also come back. Come back, vinivartante, empty-handed. They are not supposed to be empty-handed. Sense organs, they always operate, they give you data. They're never empty-handed. But here for this person, it's empty-handed. Doesn't bring anything back. And come home empty-handed. So vishayaha vinivartante. And then how they return? Rasavarjam. Rasavarjam. Rasam varjayitva. So returning empty-handed means what? They didn't pick up anything. They're not attracted to anything. Neither are they hating anything. The mind just is not responding to these sense organs. Okay, vinivartante. Rasavarjam. So here Shankaracharya says, last time we talked about it. Hey, this person who is disciplined, who says, you know, for some reason or the other, tapasvin, he heard about so much about the value for dispassion, value for sense control, and value for all these, you know, you have to, you know, vak tapas, I need to spend some time mean maunam, and I have to watch what I eat and everything. He or she is a disciplined person. Kashte tapasi sthitasya, Shankara says. Kashte tapasi, in a very in a undergoing difficulty, because to go through this process saying I'm not going to just let go means one has to have a discipline, so it's not easy. So Shankara says kashte, a person who heard somehow, somebody told him, or he studied Bhagavad Gita or whatever, somebody told him, no, you have to perform austerities, otherwise you won't get moksha. Oh, he says, no, I have to get moksha, so I better be careful. So therefore that person, and Shankara uses one more word, or murkhasya api. A fool also can say, no, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to eat that, I'm going to withdraw myself from all these things, I'm going to sacrifice so many comforts like that. He says even a fool can do that. And and the fool can do that. So vishayaha vinivartante. These sense organs, they don't have a job, they just come back empty handed. But what is there in the mind? Rasa varjam, except the rasa. Rasa means what? Rasa means that longing, the craving for whatever, we all have cravings, and there is a craving for this and that. That the craving continues to remain in one's mind, in one's personality. The craving is there. So I might be able to sit and be with myself and give up so many things, but then what about the mind? Krishna is asking. Rasa varjam vishayaha vinivartante, except for the longing continues to be there, but the person externally appears to be with a lot of self-control. Okay, that kind of person. Niraharasya dehinaha vishayaha vinivartante. Rasavarjam, you can put a full stop after rasavarjam. So a person who is disciplined, that person, for that person, the sense organs and sense objects do not, or sense organs return without doing their job, what they're supposed to do. Okay, then what? Now let's look. So here, so again, the emotional value and the objective value. Subjective value, objective value. So the person who is ignorant about realities, that person tries to control himself like this based on what he sees, then it amounts to suppression. And that person will have a subjective value and an objective value. That person also understands the value of things in this world. And but the viveki, the person who is pursuing this, who is pursuing this study of the Shastra, that person has a subjective value, but no longer a intellectual value. Means no longer thinks that any particular thing is going to finally help me. That value, that understanding is there. So here Swamiji says that person has a subjective value, some emotional attachment is there to things, but there isn't an intellectual value, because Shastram is there, because of Shastra. And so here Swamiji makes it a point. It actually is suppression. If you deny yourself all these things, people are enjoying life, and pandemic is over, so there are malls are open, and you've lived 6 months without going to a mall, so surely you can live a few more days. No, come on, chalo, mall chalo. And so it's a suppression. It's very obvious. Nobody wants to suppress. Like, chalo, what is there? But it means suppression. So Swamiji says here, but backed by the Shastram, backed by knowledge, backed by understanding of the realities, it will not amount to suppression. Withdrawal will not amount to suppression. Okay, important to know because there's a lot of psychology involved. And so emotions we talked about last time, you don't ignore your emotions just like that. And emotions are important. We need to acknowledge them. We need to understand them. Okay. And no suppression. So Shankara makes an interesting note here. Rasaha sukshmaha api, he says. Quietly introduces a word, sukshmaha. Means the desires that are there in me, but even I don't know. Is it possible to have a desire that you don't know? Yeah. So the right situation comes up and you get a desire for it. Something, oh yeah. So there used to be, there is a Greek delicacy called baklava. Okay. So how many of you have heard of baklava? I don't know how it is pronounced, but yeah, many of you have heard of it. So, okay. So once in a while, you go to a Greek restaurant. It's a Greek delicacy. And then you can, I've helped myself to this baklava, right? Many of you have done it. Now, if they have a Greek restaurant here in Vadavalli, in Coimbatore, I don't know whether it will be successful or not. Not a good idea. So it won't run for too long. Because unless these people have idli and sambar, they won't patronize all these restaurants. So idli, sambar, then baklava, that might work. Anyway, so this baklava is there. So in India, I have not had baklava. It's been a long time. So that desire for baklava is gone, or at least that's what I think. Then this Anjali and Venkatesh come home and they bring baklava. Jaykumarji, you like baklava? Remember those days in Houston? And then you say, wow, this is fantastic. So suddenly this latent desire that was there for baklava just comes out like a volcano. It comes out. So it's possible. All these things are possible. I was thinking of an example to give. This is the only example I could come up with. So it's a latent desire. For many years, it is not there, and suddenly it comes out. So anything is possible. But he says here, you know what he says here? Look at Krishna. Param drishtva. Param drishtva. Having seen param. Drishtva means having seen. Means having known. Having known param. Param means what? Having known the reality of this world, reality of the self, param, the most exalted, that which has to be known, that which is worth knowing, then what? Param drishtva, rasaha api nivartate. Rasaha api nivartate. Even that rasa that was there, the rasa for baklava that was there, sitting there and waiting to just grab hold of the neck like this, that rasa also goes away. He says that here. Rasaha api nivartate. That knowledge does this. And so the desire can be there, but the desire cannot victimize the person. Correct? The desire for baklava need not go. It's a baklava is a thing and you have tasted it. There is memory of the taste, everything, and it's all there. Let it be there. It's a glory. It's a glory. We can have a talk. We can even have some baklava. If you can make baklava, welcome. Let's do it. But no longing, no craving. How I wish is not there. Okay. So look at that. Look at the way Krishna is presenting this. How beautiful it is. So the importance of this knowledge is there. So withdrawal does not amount to suppression when there is clarity, when there is knowledge of what's what. Okay. Because the people will come and say, come on, what is all this? At this young age, there's so much to do in life, so much to enjoy. You're only 35, you're 40. I think you should stop attending all these classes. Somebody will come and tell you all this. How are you going to respond to this? You're in the peak of your career. Already your parents must be doing it. I know that. Some of the young people out there in class, they're wondering what's wrong with this guy. What is wrong with all these people? This pandemic thing is a big pain. And, all these people are sitting in these online classes and Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit and all that, So one of our friends said, my entire family hates me studying Sanskrit. So poor man, he has to live with that at home, And so it's all our karma. That's how it works. Nothing comes just like that in a platter, So it's all a thali. So some sweet will be there, some katta, meeta, everything will be there. So Shankara uses the word nirbijam karoti. That knowledge makes that desire seedless. Nirbijam. It cannot sprout. Nothing later on, nothing can happen. No desire, past desires, new desires, future, everything. Nothing can attract this person. Person can love anything, but nirbijam karoti, he says. Okay, that vision. So here, Swamiji spends a little time talking about, because the value is there, we have a value for denying ourselves some things. In our culture, we have Amavasya and Ekadashi and things like that. And Ekadashi means one has to fast. Means you don't have all this, big loads of rice and chapati and dal and all this, and you let go, and you have some fruits, maybe some drink, fruit juice, whatever, and then you pass the whole day or most of the day. These things, it's a norm in our culture. And so Swamiji says, you might decide to just go to the mountains. And in Coimbatore, it's easy to go to the mountains, and mountains are quite close by. Some other places, not so easy. And you decide to lock yourself up for some time, for a day, 2, 3 days, doesn't matter. These days you can rent a cottage in a remote area and then go there. But then it won't last for long. There are people who come from Mumbai to Coimbatore to settle down because they hear all these good things about Coimbatore. They come here, and I met one person. After 3 months, he ran away to Mumbai. He ran away to Mumbai. He bought a big flat and all that. And then he couldn't handle Coimbatore. Because Coimbatore, for him, is too slow. He cannot handle it. So this is how we have become. We are all conditioned by the outside environment. And so he couldn't handle Coimbatore. So like that, if you are in New York, you are in Manhattan, and then you have gone to the mountains, and then you want to spend time with yourself. And maybe you're not studying or anything, but you valued this thing, and so you want to be by yourself. And then your relatives are visiting you. Your family members told you don't go anytime now. Pandemic is just there now. Friends have not come to our home in a long time. They're all coming. You said, no, I'm in the mood to just be with myself. So you are in the mood. So you went there. And then somebody calls you and says, look, you know what's happening to Amazon stock? This pandemic time, stock is going up. One friend told me, she told me that her brother has become a millionaire in the last 3-4 months. Really, this is what she told me. Good friend of mine. And because this Amazon, that's how I learned all this. Otherwise, I'm not looking up this stock market and all that. There's no time for all that. So Amazon stock has gone up. Kya baat hai? You're sitting somewhere. You're supposed to be. Where is your laptop? Did you at least take your laptop? Internet there in the mountains? Do something. And then somebody else advises you, what are you doing there? You are running a business. People are waiting for you. And business is doing well, and you are sitting in the mountains. So now you start begin to think, I'm in the prime of my life, and I'm sitting. Yeah, the stock. I have to be in the stock market. Otherwise, it's foolish. These ideas you start getting. I'm wasting my life sitting here. And so all the comments, all your friends suddenly start making sense to you. All the friends to whom you were fighting with, they were all now coming to your rescue. They make a lot of sense. And so you pack your bags and you come back home. Okay, this is what happens. This is called rasa. The rasa is there, and that rasa will never go away. And here Swamiji gives the example of alcohol also, and how it's an extreme example where we see in real life people who are addicted to alcohol, and how you tell this person, hey, this is too much. I think drinking every day you don't need, right? I think you can minimize what you consume. Then the person will advance all the arguments, health arguments, how important it is. Wine, a little bit of few sips of wine a day is good for you, and alcohol, this, that. They'll give you all kinds of arguments. How many of you have heard of Wayne Dyer? Wayne Dyer. Yeah. So some of you have heard of Wayne Dyer. So it's a good writer, good speaker. And he writes a book. The book is called Your Erroneous Zones. Your Erroneous Zones. So it's a small book. Good read. And there he says, he gives this example of an alcoholic. And somebody wants to, it's a presentation, and somebody wants to demonstrate how bad alcohol is for you, especially hard liquor. And so he takes a bottle of hard liquor, brown colored liquor, and then he puts a worm in that glass. I've told this example in another class. So he drops a worm, and everybody watches it. And the worm is wriggling. And then it just drops dead after some time. Drops dead. So now he says, look, do you know what alcohol can do to your body? Do you know what it is doing to your body now? And one fellow got up and said, yeah, I know. This is why I drink alcohol. There are no worms in my stomach. Like that he says. Okay. Now tell me, can you have any argument with alcoholic? No. No argument will work with these fellows. And that's very sad. That is why the alcoholics need support groups, need prayer, so important. And they get attracted by all this happy hour and all that. Happy hour, I think I mentioned this to you some time ago. And happy hour concept has come in India also. So Chennai and Coimbatore I was searching and I couldn't find that many places. But Chennai happy hour is there. And all these comments, I read the comments. Oh, happy hour is good, then 50% drinks and this and that. They written some comments. So it's all there, happy hour. And so happy hour. So are you attracted to the happy hour, or is the happy hour pulling you there? That is the question Swamiji is asking. Are you in charge, or is the alcohol in charge? That is the question. So my deciding to take alcohol long ago gone. Now alcohol is taking me, consuming me. Like that the journey goes. So very interesting. So this support group is so important for alcoholics. Alcoholics Anonymous, very big organization. So important it is. And if you look at those, they have some dozen, I think 12 point program or something they have, a creed, Alcoholics Anonymous. So the first one is something like this. We admit that we were powerless over alcohol, and alcohol has made our lives unmanageable. Correct? Number one. Number two, we came to believe that there is a power much greater than us which can redeem us from this problem. Something like that. I'm rephrasing. It's not the exact words. You can look up. And then number three, we made a decision to restore our will and surrender to that God, however we understand God. Like that. This 12-point program is there. And then the last thing is we will help other alcoholics in a manner that we ourselves have been helped, and we strive to abide by these principles in all our affairs. Something like that. Very beautiful. So finally, that prayer has to come. That prarthana, that sharanagati, that surrender has to come. And so the example of alcohol, Swamiji often gives to demonstrate how anything can get us. It doesn't have to be alcohol, it can be anything. It can be any object that I can be addicted to. So, addicted to eating, consuming, constantly eating, all these things are there. So param drishtva, if a person can, the one who is able to see the reality, for that person, no rasa can get him. Rasaha api nivartate. So that is the message here. So let's look at the shloka once again. Niraharasya dehinaha, for the one who does not feed the senses. We are translating the shloka now. Niraharasya dehinaha, for the one who does not feed the senses, comma, vishayaha vinivartante, the senses come back to oneself. The senses come back to oneself. I suppose the common sense comes back to oneself, perhaps. But here, no, it doesn't mean that. Senses come back to oneself. Okay. Comma, rasavarjam. That rasavarjam from the second line has to be brought here. Rasavarjam, with the longing remaining behind. Except for the longing, in other words. With the longing remaining behind means that longing is still there in the mind. Still there with me, or still there with that person who has denied himself, herself, all the things. Okay. For the one who does not feed the senses, comma, the senses come back to oneself, comma, with the longing remaining behind. Full stop. Param drishtva, having seen Brahman, okay, or having seen the self, both are identical here, comma, even the longing goes away. Rasaha api nivartate. Rasaha api nivartate. Rasaha means longing. Asya. Asya means that person's. Asya. That person means the person who was described in the first sentence, that person's longing also goes away. Good. So, continuing that same discussion, how that emotional value can take a person for a ride. That is described here. Krishna talks about it in verse number 60. So let's chant that. Anybody who hasn't had a chance in a long time? Yeah. Mohini?
Okay.
Yatato hyapi
Yatato hyapi
kaunteya
kaunteya
purushasya
purushasya
vipaschitaha
vipaschitaha
indriyani
indriyani
pramathini
pramathini
haranti
haranti
prasabham manaha
prasabham manaha
yatato hyapi kaunteya
yatato hyapi kaunteya
purushasya vipaschitaha
purushasya vipaschitaha
indriyani pramathini
indriyani pramathini
haranti prasabham manaha.
haranti prasabham manaha.
Good. So, in this journey, clearly, one can use these descriptions of a wise person to guide our own life. And why should I deny myself all these things? If I say, well, anything that attracts my attention, anything that I fall prey to is going to attract my attention. But here the attention is the self, the Brahman, Ishvara. This is the analysis we are pursuing. So the focus of my attention should be Ishvara. Therefore these things, because they're so powerful, they can carry me away. And therefore this whole value of withdrawing from the senses, from the sense pursuits, if that is a better statement. So initially there is some will involved. There is will. You have to use your free will in order to practice this, in order to pursue this. And later on it becomes natural, which we all know, common experience is there. And so therefore, if I am in control of myself, swavashaha, in Sanskrit that word is used, swavashaha. Vashaha means in the spell of, vashaha means in the control of, swavashaha, in the control of myself. Means what? I am in control of myself. Paravashaha, I am under the spell of somebody else, something else. Para means, in this case, not param drishtva, not that Brahma. Param means other. Paravashaha means I am influenced by the other. I am in the hands of somebody else. I am in the hands of something else. Paravashaha. Okay. So therefore, that's why emotions, when we are carried away by emotions, we say that person is paravasha. In Tamil, we use the word paravasham, we say. Paravasham. Paravasham means that I am in the hands of my emotions. And it can have similar meanings like that. I am in the hands of something else. I am not in control of myself. Paravasham. So here that yatihi is talked about. So if you look at that word, yatataha api kaunteya. Yati. So you all have heard about yati. Yati means yatnashilaha, prayatnashilaha. One who is making effort. That person is called yati. One who is making effort. Making effort, all of you are familiar with making effort. Anything you want to accomplish, you have to make effort. You have to put in something, put in some effort. And the resume that you have built, how did it come up? How did you build your resume? So many years of effort, so many years of blood and sweat has gone into every word of your resume. And there's a time when we used to spend time on the resume. Very important. It's a part and parcel of every professional, is it not? And because it describes who the person is, who you are. And so starting from your date of birth onwards, in India, it's interesting. They put all this. Are you married? What's your date of birth? And are you single? All these data they give in the resume sometimes. Very funny. In the US, it's illegal to say all that and illegal to even ask all those questions. So, but here that's a tradition. They say that, especially the younger people. I think maybe in professional circles it's not there, but the younger people I saw some resumes and they say all that. So that resume, every word, yet is how much effort has gone into every word. So all of you, none of you is a stranger to putting effort. And every parent knows this. You don't need to work in a multinational company to know and run big $1 million projects to know what effort is. Just have to be a parent, that's all. Parent. And how many days and nights you have kept awake. And they say working mother. And what a silly statement that is, working mother. Mother means working. And so that's why they say it's an oxymoron. Working mother. There's no working mother. Mothers are working, period. You ask this fellow, you take care of my baby and I'll go work. Let's see how this person responds. And you'll say, oh, then suddenly you'll become very kind. What do you want for dinner tonight? What shall we do tomorrow? And all that. So because this fellow can't handle dealing with the baby. And so effort is so important. I mean, it's so important and we all are familiar with it. Here also, that yatana shilaha is referred to. That's person who makes effort, but effort towards this topic we are talking about, and towards the pursuit of this Brahma Vidya. And but as we said earlier, murkhasya api, Shankara mentioned, a fool also can deny himself, herself, all kinds of comforts. And so here in this shloka, Krishna says, vipaschit, last word in the first line, vipaschit. That person is not a murkha, not a fool. That person is a vipaschit. The person sees the reality, understands the reality. Person understands what is success, what is not success, and what an object can do to me. Where does security come from? All this the person understands. Vipaschit. Person is a viveki, in other words. Person knows what's what. A discerning person. And so that person Hey Kaunteya. So you can pull the word Kaunteya, bring it to the front. Hey Kaunteya. The Sanskrit students, yatataha, you may have guessed what it is. So it is yat dhatu shatru pratyaya. Yatat. Yatat. So yatat. So yatan, yatantau, yatantaha. Here Shashti Vibhakti. Yatataha, yatatoho, yatatam. So of the person who makes effort. And yatataha purushasya vipaschitaha. For that person who is a yati and who is a vipaschit, who sees things clearly, who has the viveka and who has the knowledge also. Because this knowledge is not difficult. It is only a matter of time. And so that person is being talked about. Hey Kaunteya. Even for that person, hyapi. The second word here is hyapi. Hyapi is actually two words. He and api. For that person also. Even for that person. What is that even for that person? That person also can get waylaid, can get victimized by these sense organs, sense objects. That's what he's saying here. Let's see how he says that. Prama indriyani, the sense organs, Manaha haranti indriyani, the sense organs steal the mind. Steal the mind. Carry away the mind. That is what is being said here. Look at that. Krishna is being pretty explicit here. The sense organs steal the mind away. Okay. What kind of sense organs? Pramathini indriyani. Powerful sense organs. Pramathini indriyani. Powerful sense organs steal away the mind. Manaha haranti. And how does it steal away the mind? How do they steal away the mind? Prasabham. Prasabham. Forcefully steal the mind away. The powerful sense organs forcefully steal the mind away. And so, and yatataha api, not just ordinary person. Ordinary person we know. But don't think, oh, I'm studying this, I'm studying that, and I'm Upanishads, almost out of the 10 Upanishads, I've finished 3 Upanishads, all these things. Yeah, good. But yatataha api, even though you know so much, even though there is so much that you're looking forward to, still you have to be careful. That is what he's saying here. Yatataha api kaunteya vipaschitaha purushaha. So let's translate it. He, indeed, comma, indeed, we are going to translate the shloka now. The powerful senses, pramathini indriyani, indeed, comma, the powerful senses forcefully take the mind away. Prasabham manaha haranti. Correct? Forcefully take the mind away. O Arjuna, Kaunteya, hey Kaunteya. Of whom? Of even the person, api purushasya, who makes effort, yatataha, kama. Of even the person who makes effort, comma, who sees clearly, vipaschitaha, who sees clearly. So how does the shloka translate? Indeed, comma, the powerful senses forcefully take the mind away. O Arjuna, O Kaunteya, of even the person who makes effort, comma, who sees clearly. So we should bring all the advice we used to hear from our parents when we were young. Don't eat that. You should eat more of this, and cilantro and what is all that, spinach and all that. No, the children never like spinach. Oh, they say, and no, you must have spinach. You must have more vegetables. What more vegetables? Yeah, I will take vegetable. It's called chips. Potato. Mom, I want potato chips. That's the vegetable I like. So from day one, all this lecture starts at home. So we are not new to any of this. And so Krishna has to remind Arjuna. Same thing. Okay. So we will pause there and continue in the next class. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobhramanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Deshoyam Shobharahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।